All right, everyone. We are back. It is From the Margins with James Lafont. Welcome back, Jimmy. Looking good as usual. How are
And
things with
feeling
you?
good as usual. It's a
Excellent.
good time to be alive. It's a good time to be in a podcast. It's a good time to be able to say what you feel like and not let anybody worry you or do anything that would concern you. So this
Indeed.
week, I've decided to do something. It's kind of interesting. We have a divide in MAGA. There is a division. Don't underestimate it. There is a division.
Yes.
Steve Bannon is agreeing with it, and he's one of the founders of the MAGA movement. Okay, Trump did not found it; he just took advantage of it. But and you have people like Tucker Carlson and others, Megan. You have Ingrid, and we could go on all day. Now, this is where it's interesting. Donald Trump is telling to all of you, "Fuck you! I don't want you. You go away. I don't care about you." You are listening to Democratic lies about this, and there's nothing there. Well, let me clarify something. I saw Cuomo, and he had O'Reilly there as a guest. And O'Reilly, in his stupidity, decided to say that Garnett had Epstein arrested, okay,
Mhm.
and that he was the first one to put the file separated because Bill Clinton was in it, and they didn't want that to come out. Okay, let's get historically correct. Donald, we all know you lie, and sometimes you lie because you have memories problems, you have dementia, or maybe Alzheimer. I don't know, but if you don't remember that Jeff Epstein was arrested in 2019 and supposedly committed suicide in 2019, and the Attorney General who was in charge of everything I've seen was Bill Barr. And guess who was president in 2019?
That would be Donald J. Trump.
Bingo. He was not arrested under Biden's administration. He was, just so everybody knows, he was arrested the year before the pandemic.
That's
Okay?
true.
Who was the president of the year before the pandemic in 2019? Donald J. Trump.
Correct.
His Department of Justice was the one who had him arrested. His Department of Justice was the one who worked out the deal with him.
Yeah.
Okay? It was not anybody else. His Department of Justice, for the record, also also arrested and charged his friend, who's currently serving a sentence for 30 years. Also, Democrats had nothing to do with this. And I'm not defending my party. Oh, he's defending. No, I'm not. Facts are facts. He was arrested in 2019 and he committed suicide in 2019. You were the president. Following year, yes, you were beat by Biden. And in January 2021, he took office. Einstein was dead. And basically, Biden, for the record, made no promise of releasing that file. He never did. Okay. But here is the reality check for you people. He's telling you this is a Democratic hoax, this is a Democratic hoax, this is a Democratic hoax. During his whole campaign in 2023 and 2024, and he went to the podcast and they asked him about, will you open this file? Sure, I would open it. He never once, he never once referred to it as a Democratic hoax when he was campaigning. Not once.
That's true.
Okay? So let's call it as it is. Now, people tell me, well, Pam Bundy is controlling this and she should be fired. And bullshit.
Yeah.
Pam Bundy does whatever Donald Trump tells her to do. Okay? And as a matter of fact, he decided to fire Comey's daughter, who was one of the prosecutors, who now, because she was fired by the Department of Justice, can answer questions about the Epstein file. So if you really want to know about the Epstein file, hey, all you conspire people, schedule a deposition. Go in the Freedom of Information Act. and do everything. Look, in February this year, it was decided through a memo from the Department of Justice, and a letter was sent to the director of the FBI saying there's nothing here. He knew it
Right.
in February. Nothing about it. Now, this is where it's sad. MAGA people, I have to tell you something. You elected Donald J. Trump because he was going to end up and destroy the deep people in politics who were
Deep
corrupt,
state.
who were the deep state, and everybody because he was one of you. You idiots think that a billionaire is one of you? You think a person who has no religious convictions is one of you? A person that if you give him $10, he will sell his soul to you is one of you? Here is the interesting thing. You want to take 5 minutes? Be careful because when you do these algorithms, but just put in Jeff Epstein and Donald Trump, and you're going to get a bunch of videos going back to 1992.
Yeah.
Okay? They were buddies. They hanged out together. They had parties in West and what you call it here in Florida and Palm Beach. Okay, they were neighbors. As a matter of fact, there was an NBC special done where Donald Trump was such an idiot in 1992. He wanted to show off how many women were in his apartment and how his great sex life and everything. That was done by NBC. It's public records. And who was at that party? MC. Now,
Yeah.
let me tell you a little truth. The reason it's not going to come out is people say there's 3 reasons. 1, they're hiding something. 2, there's nothing there. 3, there's the name of Donald J. Trump in the file. Would that surprise anybody? No.
No.
We know that they were friends.
Yeah.
And everything. So let me give you a word of advice, Donald. Your members and your followers know that you're corrupt. They don't care. They know that you're a sexual predator. They don't care. So if you're hiding the Epstein files because you don't want the world to know the sexual pervert that you are, it's not really going to affect you with your people. They love you no matter what. They know you're a sexual pervert. They know you're a liar. They don't care. So you could. But here's the interesting thing. There's a 4th philosophy here. There was an agreement between both parties.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, Bill Clinton might be in there. And
Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
Donald Trump might be in there. But if you think those are the 2 only people that Epstein had contacts with, you're an idiot. So both parties did agree, hey, we cannot afford to get everybody out there. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting that Alan Desorich, the famous attorney from Harvard, who defended Epstein, who was his attorney, and who was his friend, and was in jets with him, and went and had la vida loca with him, basically is also a suspect that maybe he participated in this. Well, if he's saying, no, we were just friends, and okay, fine. But we do know there's a lot of powerful people in that file.
Yes.
So it's not only Donald Trump controlling this, it's other people that Donald Trump is. And this is my evidence. He is part of the deep state. You thought that he was one of you guys. You thought that he believed in all these conspiracy. You thought that he believes that Democrats eat little children in a pizzeria in downtown Washington, D.C. They don't. He doesn't believe that. He knows that's a lie. But he uses it to get elected. He's been using you for years. He does not believe in the conspiracies. He does not believe that he's going to release anything. Look, he was president for 4 years. Did he release Martin Luther King's file? I don't think so. Did he release JFK's file? I don't think so. Did he release the thing about the Martians or the UFOs? No, he didn't. Did he release any of these files? No. Did he
No.
even comment in 2019 after Epstein committed suicide? Anything? No. Look, he's just telling you to blow it off. He's telling you to ignore it. He's not going to release the information. So you have two options, MAGA. Or you abandon him, or you follow him knowing that he's going to use you for the rest of your life and that you're his bitches and that he tells you to shut up and he expects you to shut up. That is the problem that I have. That is what I'm trying to bring.
Okay.
Donald Trump is not a leader. He believes that he owns you, that what he says you should go along with. And basically, that is where I have a fault. Look, if
That's how he moves. Yes.
yes, if he doesn't want to release it, he's the president. I can live with that. But calling you weaklings and telling you he doesn't want you in his party and that you are stupid, basically, because that's what he called you, stupid,
Mhm.
because you believe a Democratic hoax. Well, we know it's not a Democratic hoax. With all due respect, the people who are behind the Einstein thing, okay, let me name. Do you think that Hannity is a Democrat? I don't think so. Do you think that Ingrid is a Democrat? I don't think so. Do you think that the guy from infomercials is a Democrat? Hell no. Do you
Right.
think all these other podcasters who are out there talking about this are there? Do you think that Megan is? Do you think Green is? Marjorie Taylor Greene? Do you think no? All these other people out there pushing that. I'll pay you to tell me Democrat podcasters who have been venting this for the last 4 years. None. So if you want to accept that your leader is lying to you and say this is a Democratic hoax, from where? Coney? Coney had nothing to do with the arrest. His daughter prosecuted it. Okay.
That's correct.
But Coney, he didn't. And he goes back to the thing, the deep state that they checked me as to the Russia gate and there was no Russia gate there. Or, yeah, that he released it. And there's some question of the validity of what he released,
Right.
but he released it. But everything else that he promised you 4 years ago, he never did. 4 years ago, he promised Martin Luther King. Hasn't been released. He promised you RFK. Hasn't been released. He promised the UFOs. He hasn't been released. He promised you other conspiracies that you believe in. He has not released, and he's not going to. He's going to use you. And MAGA, you either accept him for who he is or you walk away. And I'm going to say something. I have walked away from certain things in my party because I don't agree with them.
Sure.
Chuck Schumer, he's not my leader.
Correct.
Pelosi, not my leader.
Correct.
Jeffries, not my leader. Okay,
Correct.
so if I could call out my people for failing my party in my country,
Mhm.
I defy you to do the same with Donald J. Trump. Tell him, hey, either you are going to do this or I will oblige your request and I will abandon you. And this is something that Steve Bannon, God, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Steve Bannon, but I'm going to. If 10% of the MAGA movement abandons him mid term, okay, 10%, he won by 5, okay, so he's double that. If that 10% abandons him, they lose the House and they come to almost an equal Senate.
Mhm.
That is scary. And 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 I've never seen a politician, and this is me.
Okay.
The only time I saw a politician do this, he was a fake politician. And I say fake, and I'll give you why. Is I've never seen a politician say, "Hey, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourselves and vote for somebody else." Never heard it. I've heard it in private conversations, but not publicly on TV. And the only other one is, I know you probably, like me, are a fan of West Wing. And there was a time where Jeff Butler said, hey, and if the liberals don't agree with me, they can vote for somebody else.
Right.
That statement. But not go fuck yourselves, you're ignorant, you're stupid. Look, he insulted them. I mean, I'm like, my God, does this guy really think he's a god that he can do whatever he wants? So that's my reality check for the Republicans this week.
Uh,
But if you're okay with a leader telling to go fuck yourself, and that you're weakly, and that you're stupid, and that you're ignorant, and I'm using his words, I'm not making up words, those are his words, and that's your leader,
right.
wow, you are really disappointing me because
You,
that's not a leader.
Jimmy, and you brought up some names and your 4 points that I want to touch on because you brought up something very good, and let me start with what you just said about uh, Trump going after his supporters. There's one thing that Trump does value the most, and that is loyalty, without a doubt. And one of the reasons that I believe that Trump is not publishing or allowing the Epstein files to go public is because, and he's touched on this, that there are good people in his eyes who are in those files who have had an association with Epstein, but not in nefarious ways. There were many people who gone to, parties or events or received funding from Epstein, but did not partake or did not contribute to the debauchery and garbage and abuse that was going on with Epstein. However, guilt by association, this is where this has led to. And I believe that Trump is protecting those innocent people, not only because he knows that there was no illicit activity uh, with Epstein at Epstein's island or whatever. I believe that there's more in these files, not necessarily created by Epstein, but by two men that Trump believe has been the heart of the attacks against him and the people loyal to him. And you mentioned one of them. Yes, James Comey, the former director of the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigations, that he fired, and the other former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan. Those men are personas non grata. And I believe that Trump has files that were created by the CIA and or the FBI on those innocent people, as Trump deems them to be, that went further than just what occurred with Epstein. That Trump is protecting those individuals and has said, we're done. We're done. And thus, the personal, attacks against his base is real. What do you think? And I think all
With
four
all,
points
with all,
are
with all
good.
due respect, I know that's what he's been saying.
Yeah,
I've never known him to have a heart, but then again, maybe he grew one in the last 48 hours. But
sure.
Coney was out before Epstein was arrested. Coney was arrested. Epstein was arrested by, yes, the Department of Justice, but at that time it was being headed by Bill Barr. The investigation was done under, and this is the other thing that we tend to forget, the previous Attorney General, the senator from Alabama, who
Yes.
basically recruits himself because he also understood that they were friends. Look, are there good people in there that shouldn't be coming out? Look, this is
Mm,
where I part with Trump. If he was smart enough, which he's not, if he was smart enough, he could say, look, there's victims in here. And these victims were minors when this occurred. We have to protect them. And I'm ordering Pam Bondi to remove all victims' names and statements from here. I can live with that one. I really could. But guilty by association, that's his concern. But the good people he's talking about that will be guilty by association is him because he partied with the guy. So what he's trying to say is, look, I partied with the guy. I was with young girls with the guy. As a matter of fact, we had a party in my house with the cheerleaders of the Buffalo Bills, and my house is filmed. He's there. We're with them. We're partying with them, and they were all in their 20s, so they were legally adults, so there's no big problem. But we all know that he was. There's a record of the gaming commission in New Jersey with him and Epstein with a 19-year-old. And the reason it came out is because to enter a casino in New Jersey you have to be 21. So he was with a minor. It was later investigated. She was 19, but still, these were guys in their 40s. So let's stop pretending. I think when he says there were good people in there who might not be involved, he's protecting himself. And I don't have a problem with him, but just say it. Look, hey, people, I in my youth did some stupid things. I hanged out with this guy. We were neighbors in West Palm Beach. We partied together on many occasions, but I didn't know about this. And let the people believe it or not. Look, that is where he really is. He's afraid that people are not going to believe it when he says, look, I'm a sexual predator. I've been found to be a sexual predator in the great state of New York where I live. I settled many sexual predator things. I paid a porn star. Look, I'm a pervert, but I didn't know that Einstein was a pervert. And he knows he can't sell that. So that's where I think he's coming from. Protecting others, I've never seen Donald Trump protect anybody but Donald Trump. So when he says that there might be people in there that did not do anything wrong, the person is protecting himself. And
sure,
he should. But to say that he's protecting others, look, you know what has to make so pissed off? Is that one of the people they want to convict and find guilty by association, look, if the names come out, you know who's going to come out? Bill Clinton.
Exactly. Right.
And that's the meat that his people want. But he cannot give them Bill Clinton without giving them Donald J. Trump. So there lies the problem. It's not that if you think he's protecting Bill Clinton, you're an idiot, because I don't think he is.
Okay. I don't think so either. And Bill Clinton has been on, airline or airport manifestos. It's very clear. There's video. I mean, it's clear for both Donald Trump and Bill Clinton.
And for that matter, so has Anna Donner and some other powerful people been on the manifestos. We know that. But the truth of the matter is that this is what's really weird. He's protecting a Democrat and criticizing the Democrats for all this. That's where I think it's hypocritical. The person who's benefiting most from the Epstein files not coming out is Donald J. Trump and Bill Clinton. Let's call it that. They're both. And I don't think he's doing it to protect Bill Clinton. Hell no. If he was not involved and the only person in there was Bill Clinton, those files would have been released 10 years ago. Sorry. But that's the truth. So when he tells me there's good people, he's referring to himself. Look, and the problem is that the other thing I think is a little bit of an ego. Donald Trump likes the idea of loyalty. You used it. I'm going to use the same word, loyalty. He wants his members to be loyal to him. And if you're not loyal to me, go fuck yourself. That's true. This is where he's coming from. I told you to shut up and just accept what I said. And if not, go fuck yourself. There is where the problem, I think, lies more than anything else. It's his call for loyalty. He thinks that these people are being disloyal and he wants them out. But he had this file in 2019. Mm-hmm. He had this file in 2020. He didn't release it. And the problem that is that he made it a campaign thing. He went podcast to podcast. His vice president was one of the biggest people saying that we need to release it. So basically, now, why are these people pushing for something that I promised them? You know how stupid that sounds?
It sounds like a cover up.
It is a
And
cover up. And
and
we know it's a cover up. And I don't have a problem that we call it cover up. But my surprise is, that the way he's treated his members of his party, the way
right,
he's treating his followers. Look, if he doesn't want to, just say, look, sorry, you could do whatever you want, but I'm not going to release this. That politically wise, you and I would advise anybody to do that. Neither would you and I advise Democrat, Republican, Independent to tell people that call them stupid, that you don't want their votes anyway, and they could go fuck themselves. And we would never recommend that. That's the part that blows me,
right. And
because
we know that his
that is the part that he's not protecting people. He's pissed off that you're not obeying him.
but Jimmy, we know that for him, relationships are transactional. And as he demands loyalty, aren't those people who may have been in his life, who have made personal and professional dealings with him, that he's loyal to, who may be caught up in this, that he's also protecting?
No, he's
Mm,
loyal. He's loyal to nobody. That's the whole problem. You're assuming that he's loyal to what? He's loyal to. Oh yeah, there are about 7 people he's loyal to: George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Hamilton, Jefferson, Ulysses Grant, and Benjamin Franklin.
dollars.
Yes, he is.
They,
You
what?
know, look.
How about family?
Right now, how much is he talking to Ivanka? How much? He has a younger daughter that never comes around.
Yeah.
His only 2 things is his 2 sons who he prefers. And if we're going to be honest, did you ever see the Big Bang Theory?
No, I
No.
mean I'm familiar with the
The
show, but
two,
not
two and a
enough.
half men. Two and a half
Okay.
men.
Now, I'm familiar with the show, but I've never watched it.
Okay. There's a scene where basically she says, um, um, the older one has some promise. I gave it off on the young one, but you know, and she calls her son a bitter disappointment. Uh, to a certain degree, we have to understand that Donald Trump has 2 sons. He prefers one over the other. And we know
Okay.
that Eric is not one of his favorites. Ivanka, this time around, is not in the White House. Ivanka doesn't participate in anything. Neither does her husband. And for that matter, he has a second daughter that nobody ever hears about. And Brandon is kind of weird because Brandon is there and he's there, but he's
Right.
yeah. So when people tell me realistically who is he loyal to, I'm not sure.
Mm.
I'm not sure because everybody from his first administration he fired. And if I'm going to ask you one question, is there anybody in his current administration that you think he's not capable of firing?
Oh no, no, no! Anyone is capable of being terminated by Trump. That there's no one who is who has Teflon skin, but Trump.
So when you tell me he's loyal, I'm just asking you one question: to whom? Because I cannot think of anybody that he's loyal to.
It's just that no man lives on the island alone, and for him to be able to move through life the way he has. There are things that are beyond his control or things that he would need help in doing.
Oh yeah,
And
and again he has his friends: Washington, Lincoln, Hamilton, Jefferson, Grant, and Benjamin, who help him out. Look,
how,
we know he settled many lawsuits. Okay,
yes,
for
pennies on a
different
dollar.
things. He's settled them, and he put out money. So people, he fucks up and he pays them off and gets rid of them. So let's stop pretending that. Oh well, yeah, he uh, his family is there, but no, Melania. That's a weird relationship, and that's his wife. So you
Right.
tell me, does he get through life? I'm not sure.
Mm.
The only person who used to get to him was his father. But his father's
Ah,
his
okay.
father's gone. So at this point, I cannot say that he's loyal to his wife. I cannot say he's loyal to his children. In his world, people are loyal to him, and that's what counts.
Jimmy, I mean, what more? I mean, people have made their minds up on Donald Trump. Whether you're MAGA or not, you hate him or you love him. And how much worse could this get if he's just protecting himself?
Look, this is how worse it could get.
Hmm.
This is a man who thinks TV. He does not think like you and me thinks TV. We get
Okay,
12, 14 days of the scandal of Einstein coming out, the pictures that are in the file, the videos that are in the file, the statements that are in the file. Now, instead of his, like he says, his great big bill, they're talking about his sexual predators days with Epstein.
right.
He's There's another movie that I think you saw, Absence of Malice. I'm not sure if you ever saw that one,
Oh, a long time ago.
where he says, I could talk my face blue trying to convince the world that you were just stupid and you didn't do anything wrong, but nobody's going to believe me."
Right.
That he realizes he could
Yeah.
go there and say, "No, no, 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 no," but like there's an old saying where I come from: a picture says more than 1,000 words. So with all the pictures, there's pictures right now on the internet with him standing with 14, 15-year-old girls and them singing up. So yes, those are there. And for him to say, "Well, I didn't know the man was doing," he had a room full of girls, 14 and 15, and you were in the room, but you didn't know it. Oh, come on. You, I looked that stupid. That's what he's concerned about. He's concerned about how his daughters are going to react to this. He's concerned how the public's going to react. And he's really concerned mathematically. This is a concern that I think his people have told him. This is where I think we end up having saying Donald Trump.
Okay.
He could tell 10% to go fuck themselves and he might win. But if the scandal comes out and he loses 20 to 25% of MAGA, he can never win and MAGA dies.
Mm,
See, because MAGA is a movement with one leader.
that's right.
If that leader is discredited, there is no longer MAGA. I mean, there is those groups that he brought together,
Right.
but they don't have a leader to push it forward. That is what he's concerned about. And to a certain degree, his legacy. Does he want a legacy of being a great president or a legacy of being a great person? So I think, look, I understand where he's coming from, and I'm not criticizing. Donald Trump is protecting himself from the Epstein file. You people are barking up the wrong tree. That is where he's dirty. I'm sorry.
Okay.
UFO, he had nothing to do with the UFO. John F. K., he had nothing to do with John F. K. Martin Luther King, he had nothing to do with Martin. So there he could release those. Epstein, he's dirty. Oh, is Bill Clinton dirty? Probably. Is Alan Thatcher dirty? Probably. Are there other leaders in the Republican Democrat Party in there that might be dirty? Yes. Look, Prince Andrew's lost his princeship in the United Kingdom over this. So let's stop pretending that this
Right.
were not rich and powerful men fooling around with 13, 14-year-old girls. So yes, he knows the price that Andrew paid. And if he pays half of the price that Andrew paid, he's dead in the water. So he's not protecting friends, he's protecting himself. MAGA, don't go into instinct because you're going to find that your leader is a pervert and he's dirty. But if you
And-
want to find that out, go for it. But he's in the file. And you know he's in the file. And by the way, his number one leader and the person who can hack it into a file and tell you what's in that file, has said it more than once. Musk has said that Donald Trump is in the Epstein file.
Right, he
Man,
has.
he has. I wouldn't put him past him that he's hacked into that file. I wouldn't put it. Look, and this is my theory. When he was bitty bitty and what we used to joke about as the vice president, would have no surprise that he went into the FBI or went into what you might call it, Department of Justice, and because he was cozy with the president, oh, let me get it, and they gave him the file.
Mm-hmm.
Not now, hell no, but back then, yeah, because he was the vice president of the United States. Technically, he was. So what I'm trying to say is, people, with all due respect, he's not. If you're thinking that this is about something else, if you really want to know the truth of the conspiracy of Epstein, very simple. Donald Trump is in it, and other powerful Democrats, both parties, and
Yeah,
they
both
don't
parties. Yeah.
want to release it because it's their reputation that's going down the drain. So
Yeah.
he prefers to lose those of you who are pushing for it than for his name to be involved in shit that is there. Look, he knows, and you know, and I know that even if though he tries to explain I had nothing to do with it, probably nobody's going to believe him. And that will be the ammunition that Democrats could use in 2026. Really, how
Yeah.
easy would it be to put a campaign together that the leader of the party was found to be in 92, 95, 98, 2008 involved with young ladies and a sexual predator? Look, I hate to say this. Einstein was the most despicable person that we know now. Now, the problem with him is that he was supposedly the leader of the pack, but there were other people involved.
Sure.
And that's why they keep, we want the list, we want the list. You get the list, you got to find the name of Donald J. Trump.
Also, Epstein used his influence and putting people in difficult situations by being at these parties. He used these opportunities to what I believe to blackmail folks who probably had nothing to do with some of the, again, more scandalous accusations or allegations, but because they were in the proximity of this debauchery, that it would stain their name. So, Epstein wrote a check for this foundation, but that was that check, that money was blood money, so to speak. And for many people who came to see Epstein, they benefited financially for their business or for their foundation or their nonprofit and so on. So there's that sticky situation for those who visited or who have association with Epstein and never again was involved in more of the scandalous stuff.
Well, that's the sad part about this. We don't know if they were or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part. We assume we take as a position of, I take a position as an attorney, until proven guilty, I don't take it. But I don't believe that I think it could blackmail somebody unless they participate. That's just me saying. If he were to come and say, "Hey, you and I had a meeting and we talked about this, and now that I ought to say that," you can say whatever you want without proof. That wouldn't worry me. The concern I have is two parts. One, this happened two ways. In 2008, he was arrested in Florida. Okay,
Correct.
he pled guilty and had to register as a sexual offender. Okay,
Yeah.
let's clarify that He had to, and he served time in jail. Okay. Those records, which are in Florida, they're not federal,
Yeah.
have never been requested by the people who want to know. This is part of his records.
Yeah, it is.
Just as Ron DeSantis to release them. I defy you people from MAGA. We want the records. Ask Ron DeSantis, as governor of the state of Florida, to release the 208 records from Palm Beach in which he pled guilty. Let's call it. He pled guilty to a misdemeanor. He had to register as a sex offender, and he did jail time. What was the investigation? What was the paperwork in there? Who was involved in this? And it were the other people. That record is not on Penn Bounty's desk. It used to be on her desk when she was Attorney General.
Correct.
Currently.
The Miami Times did a story on this, an expose on this.
Correct. So basically, if you really want his records, start by 208, because that's where the investigation started. That's where the whole thing, like we said, exploded. So you could go to here and get this done, okay? Because basically, at this point, that is part of his records. And it was the other thing you could get, which is kind of interesting, it's my understanding that when this occurred here in Florida, there was surveillance. You say, well, what was the surveillance? Surveillance includes who entered and who exited that house.
Right.
Okay? During that period of time, was not the whole thing, but during that period of time, you want to know who else was in that house? Because I'm going to say this, somebody said it, in one of the parties that they showed pictures, there were about 15 young ladies. We know that Andrew had cut with some of them. There's an allegation that Bill Clinton had with others, and there's an allegation that Donald Trump had with others. So basically, who else participated in these parties? That's a good question. There are surveillance of who entered Mr. Epstein's house. Okay, that's how they were able to determine, just so you know, that there were minors in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you really want that, ask Ron DeSantis, the governor of the great state of Florida, to release the Epstein records from Florida. And for the record, they are right now 17 years old. So the statute, well, first of all criminal records are public. Let's start by that. In Florida, all criminal records. What might be not private is the investigative notes. But if you want Donald Trump to release his, have them release them here in Florida and see, because here is where it started. Here is where most of the crimes committed. The ones that were prosecuted were not in the island.
Right.
Because the island, they didn't have jurisdiction.
Correct.
That was not part of the United States. So they cannot charge him with what happened in that island.
That's right.
But they charge him with everything that happened in New York and everything that happened in Florida. So you might want to also check with New York to see what the police in New York investigated. But if you want to continue with this, MAGA, you have to make a decision. Or you're going to be a follower of Donald Trump, or you want the same files. But like they say back home, but you can't have both. If you want to insist on the same thing, Donald Trump has told you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Let's go into what I call the fuck up of the week. And I'm going to start with the Democrats.
Okay, sir.
People, you don't have to jump into the Einstein matter. You don't.
Yeah.
He let the Republicans or the MAGAs fight among themselves and split among themselves. You don't need to get involved. So you don't need to put proposals that the Attorney General released the file to you guys or to anything else. You don't need to participate. You're above that. Basically, you won't object to it, but it's not your thing to go out there and make it an issue. You want to make an issue of what's happening here is basically what I've been trying to tell you for the last 45 minutes. Donald Trump has told those people who are not loyal to him to go fuck themselves and tell them that they're welcome in the Democratic Party. You could be crazy and be a Democrat. That's a prerequisite. Only crazies join our party anyway, according to the Republicans. So, hey, come and join us. You want the Epstein files? We're going to be honest with you. You're not going to get it, but you can come and join us. You want clear government? Come and join us. We'll try to give it to you as long as we don't sell ourselves to the devil. There's where you should be concentrated. And because next year, look, we're almost in August. We're a year away from primaries.
That's right.
Which will decide the candidates for the House and the Senate.
That's correct.
And Democrats, can I ask you a question? David, you and I have the ear to the ground. Correct me. In 2026, the office of the now pretender to be Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, seat in the Senate is up, right?
That's correct. Ashley Moody is in the seat. She's running as the incumbent.
Okay. In July 17, 2025, who are the Democrat candidates for that seat?
Hey, Jimmy. I was on the website today looking at the names, and there's rumors. I think Sean Shaw, if I remember correctly reading this, is considering the run against Ashley Moody as the most prominent Democratic name that I heard in the last maybe month or so. Otherwise, Jimmy, there's no one.
Okay, you're right about Mr. Shaw. I would not call him prominent, but I would call him he has more name recognition than probably me.
And me.
And that's not much to say, because I don't. But a year before the primary, he has not announced his campaign. He can't raise money because he's not a candidate. He hasn't been campaigning at all. But he's going to run against an incumbent.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see anything wrong with that picture?
Yes. A big deal. It's less than a year that from now to the election, because again, for me, elections start when those vote by mail ballots go out to folks who live out of state and overseas. So I don't understand why people wait so long, particularly if Shaw is thinking of running for this seat. I know he has a PAC, a well-funded PAC, during his last run, but why wait?
He has a good funding PAC. You are correct. But this is the issue that I don't seem to understand. People still think the money talks. I understand that, to be quite honest, in the last presidential election, and I'm going to call it as it is, us Democrats spend more money than the Republicans.
Yeah.
And we lost every state. Every swing state we lost. Even though we walked in and worked them and put money on TV, which I've never understood any. There was a time that TV was effective. I'm not going to say
sure. That. Yes, there was a time. Yes,
but I'm 76 and I even realize that's a waste of money. as what much as a waste of money it would be to put in an ad on radio, on the newspaper, and somebody the other day said, used the word flyers, and I said, that's still a thing? No, it isn't.
Stop
Uh,
it.
with all due respect, we just learned from the youth in New York. He used social media effectively and inexpensively. Okay,
Yes.
inexpensively. He did put some ads. He did, but what he did is he pushed and pushed his agenda, and it kept coming out. And he had emails, and he would send his. It was fantastic. So basically, at this point, but we're a year away from our primary.
Mhm.
We have one maybe. That's it. One maybe. And with all due respect, Sean, you're not the. You have some name recognition, and I'm gonna try again.
Mhm.
But I can walk out to the street right now and say, "Do you know?" And they will. I walk into the Orange County DEC, and half of the people there will go, "I don't know who he is."
Mhm.
Okay, so basically, at this point, you need to get your name out there. You need to do
Yep.
something. You need to be on a podcast. You need to do something, but you're doing nothing now. And say, "I'm thinking about it."
Agreed. Agreed. You have to be a superstar at this point. Josh or Joshua Wheel, or I believe Weil. He was the Democratic nominee for the special election in Congressional District 6, Jimmy, against Randy Fine. He lost, but his claim to fame is that he can raise the money. And he did raise a lot of money, millions. He did raise a lot of money. There's questions on where it was raised, how it was raised by his campaign fundraiser, also how that money was used. There's still questions about
Oh
that.
no, there's no question about that. It was
Hmm.
wasted.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
call it out.
right.
They wasted their money. They had
Hmm.
money. They wasted it. And look, they had an uphill battle.
Oh,
How they
yes.
convinced people that in a red district where you put a moron to run, because Fine is a moron. Okay, I'll call him Mr. Fine. You're a moron. Uh, he won because he had the R next to it. Look, there's certain districts we can win.
Sure.
That
Yep.
was not one of them.
That
Okay,
was not.
okay, it was really not one of them. But we told the world we could. It's like Beto about 8 years ago. He could win the Senate. No, he cannot. No,
Right.
he cannot. So basically, unless we find somebody quick, Democrats are going to lose the Senate.
Yeah.
And what? Wait a minute. What am I talking about? It's also 2025. It's also July. Who's the leading candidate for the state of Florida for Democrats for governor?
That the one gentleman with name recognition, former NPA and MSNBC commentator David Jolly.
Who used to be a Republican.
That's correct.
Who else do we have? Okay, Attorney General.
Attorney General. Oh, that's a good question. Ooh, Jimmy. No one pops up. No one really.
CFO.
I mean, we have Jose Javier Rodriguez who lost his seat, his Senate seat down in South Florida. If this is the same Rodriguez that lost to someone with a similar name, so I do recall that. Chief financial officer. There's no Democrat on the who's filed for that. Of course, we've got someone who's filed for the Commissioner of Agriculture. Oh, yay! But Jimmy,
Look,
mm-mm.
this is the problem. The Florida Democratic Party sucks.
Yeah.
Again, for those of you who wonder if I said it correctly, the Florida Democratic Party sucks. That's
Hmm.
a not a four-letter word. That's a four-word sentence. Florida Party, Florida Democratic Party sucks.
Yeah.
Now, I've said that. I forgot that I haven't given you the fuck up of the week of the Republicans.
But before you go there, there's another point I want to make about Madani in New York. I listened to, I believe it was either Pod Save America or the Down Ballot, and the show had the campaign manager for Madani on their show. And I really was looking forward to this interview and finding out what magic there was that got him the nomination. And the one thing that stood out, two things. First of all, one, she relied a lot on polling, and maybe for that particular race, it was important to them. However, it was she spoke very highly about how they would check their numbers often, check what was being said in the community, particularly the crowds that they were meeting with, the young people that they were meeting with, and knowing that the other candidates were not talking to these individuals. She also said what made her realize that they were gaining some traction was the fact that she was visiting friends who lived in New York, who came up to her and started spontaneously talking about Mandani. And so she then knew, wow, we're on to something. Second, which was more impressive, and I think even um, was more of an influence on the campaign than anything, was that this campaign manager had a personal buy-in, and not financially, but she personally embraced the message that Madani had for his campaign. She was that much invested personally in what she believed was what New York needed in order for her to work with the campaign and get him to the finish line in first place. That's the two takeaways I took from that interview and learn more about Mandani's campaign.
Okay, you're partially, I agree with you this, but there's another aspect of this that really nobody's talking about. The beginning of the campaign, commentators would say this is Andrew Cuomo's election to lose. Okay.
Right.
He chose not to go out and talk to the public. He chose
Mhm.
that. He chose to just look for endorsements and
Right.
to use the old Democratic Party machinery.
Correct.
Basically, he was of the philosophy that if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, the system has been broken for almost 20 years.
Whew.
Uh, so he just campaigned the same way he had campaigned before because it worked before. And he did the same thing. He got endorsements from the idiot in South Carolina. Who in New York City cares that the congressman in South Carolina is endorsing somebody? But but that's old school. Okay, that's old school endorsements. Endorsements. You and I have a say. Don't get your votes. Okay.
That's right.
They went out to the public. He did not. He uh, got a message. Look, Hillary. I mean, Hillary, uh, Harris lost because everything's good, everything's fine. There's
Mhm.
no problem. Keep us, and everything will be fine. Fuck that. Did not sell. And to a certain extent, she did not listen. But here's where Democrats need to understand something. Campaigns that have been successful need one thing. And this is something that I've been accused of and proud of. You need somebody to push back.
Mhm. True.
No, this is not going to work. No, this could be cost you this. This could be. Most politicians are surrounded by people. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's fine. And that's one thing. But At the end of the day, it's all about the economy. Stupid. Been saying that since I started this podcast. Not the first time I say it. It's not the last. And I don't claim it to be my statement. Jim Carville. Some people hate him, and I understand that because, like me, he's an asshole. But that's something we carry as a badge of honor. But here is what I'm trying to say. Mandami made it about the economy, affordability.
Yeah.
Things are, people who work in New York cannot afford to live in New York. Okay. Taxes are so high in New York that you cannot live. Rent is too high. This is too high. Food is too high. Da da da. It was all about the economy. And he did something that most politicians don't do. He told you how he was going to finance it. He's going to extra tax on sales of a bit of stock and things like that. And those who make more than $1 million are going to give an extra 2%. He told you how I'm going to finance this.
Right.
With people like free bus service, yeah, in New York, you cannot afford to have a car. Just like in downtown Chicago, you cannot afford to have a car either. You need to use public transportation. You're forced into it. Okay. It's just simple. But he came with a campaign. Going there that I've been endorsed by all the unions. I've been endorsed by all. Now, who gives a shit?
Shit.
Okay. But that's what the old Democratic campaign. That's what when people tell me, can Democrats win? If they change, yes. If they say the same shit, they're going nowhere. Okay, let's go to the fuck up of the week of the Republicans.
Okay.
It's a simple one. I've been discussing it previously, and I'm going to discuss it right now. You cannot use in your campaign a thing as an issue, and then once you get elected, say, I'm not going to address it.
Yeah.
You might ignore it and get away with it. Okay? Smart politician would ignore it and say, I'm good, and get away with it. For some reason, Donald Trump has decided this week to insult his base, call them weak, call them stupid.
Right.
As far as he's concerned, they're no longer part of the party, and they could go and vote for somebody else, but he doesn't want them in his coalition. You never tell the members of your party to go fuck themselves. You never tell your party people that they're stupid. And if you've listened to me, I have said that Democrats act stupidly. And they do. They act stupidly because they've been convinced that this is the way to do things. That with this you can succeed. Well, no. So the fuck up of the week was Donald Trump directly insulting his party, not the other party, his party. That's a major fuck up. I can't think of any bigger fuck up politically that I've seen in the last 5 years than that.
Could be a fatal
Tell
one.
the wrong people to go fuck themselves. With that, I will remind you, comment, good, bad, indifferent, I don't care. If you want to say that I'm an asshole, that's my badge of honor. So I have no problem with that. Subscribe. As a matter of fact, view it. Yes, whatever you want to do, we're here. And if you have a thing that you would like me to talk about, send us a little comment. Hey, why don't you discuss this? I'm open to it. If I get enough people who want that issue to be discussed, it will be discussed. I promise you that. So with that, I will see you all next week. Have fun and stay out of trouble. And remember, your problem is not the government employee. Your problem is a corrupt House and U.S. Senate. They're too corrupt and they don't care about you. Take care.
Enjoy your evening, Jimmy. Take care.
You too.